Ain't nobody's running, ain't nobody's hiding, nobody's ducking. I mean, Crawford's going to be right there, ready to trade blows with Canelo Alvarez. Why did you use that word war? Why are you feeling that way?
Go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages. Most of them are Crawford.
Crawford could see everything coming. He could see everything coming that Canelo threw at him. He was reading it so well. His guard was so tight as well when he was up at the ropes, when he was exiting, looking to move around.
About the same size, but that was a brilliant performance. And what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said, forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Stephen A. Smith's reaction was nothing short of fiery after Canelo Alvarez's stunning loss to Terence Crawford. He reminded everyone that this was the fight Crawford had chased for years, not just to test himself, but to cement his place in boxing history. Smith made it clear that Crawford did more than just win a big fight. He stole the spotlight from one of boxing's most iconic stars. On the grandest stage, against the most marketable name, Crawford not only delivered but redefined his own legacy. For Smith, this wasn't just another victory, it was the defining moment that shifted the balance of boxing power.
Division world champion out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's undefeated, 41-0 with 31 KOs, and he begged for this fight. He wanted Canelo bad because to him, it's all about legacy. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you what I know. And how would I know? It's because I interviewed him. Yesterday, we sat down. Here is my conversation with the one and only Terence Crawford challenging Saul Canelo Alvarez, moving up 2 weight divisions to do it.
Max Kellerman echoed the sentiment, but in his signature analytical style. He described Crawford's triumph as historic, the kind of performance that shapes an entire career. Kellerman compared the challenge to climbing weight classes only to face a dangerous opponent who drags you into a fight unlike anything you've experienced before. He praised Crawford's fearlessness, pointing out that true champions don't hide from difficult matchups or worry about disadvantages in size, speed, or power. Instead, they seek out danger and embrace it. For years, no fighter dared to openly challenge Bud. Yet Crawford flipped the script, took on Canelo in his own domain, and proved beyond doubt that he belongs among the sport's most revered warriors.
Giving up having to jump up 2 more weight classes and fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody. That night I fought John Ruiz, I didn't care who was over there. Whoever they brought at that locker room was going to get it. You understand me? That's just what it was. And I think Bud kind of has that feeling. Now, Bud, you got to remember, has been around for a long time. Nobody called him out. You understand me? All the time Floyd came at the boxing floor, never said I want Bud Crawford.
No one ever said his name.
Hey, all I know is one thing. Israel Mazrimov, he didn't get it. He barely lost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but nobody called his name.
Shocker. Stevenson's admiration for Terence Crawford has long been visible, but after this victory, it carried more weight than ever. He explained that Crawford not only backed up every bold statement he made before the fight, but also reminded the world why he's respected across boxing. For Stevenson, this wasn't just about watching his idol succeed, it was about validation. From his earliest days in the gym, Shocker studied Crawford's discipline, mindset, and style. Seeing his role model pull off such a monumental feat confirmed for him that greatness doesn't happen by chance. It's the product of years of relentless preparation. To Stevenson, Crawford is more than a champion, he's a living blueprint for excellence. A mentor figure whose career sets the standard for the next generation.
Cook Canelo. He said he was going to outbox him. He did exactly what I called years ago. And tonight he proved that he's the greatest boxer that ever lived.
Well, in the interview with Dimwell, you said, you felt like going on a run watching that tonight. How much inspiration can you take from someone like Terence?
I take everything from him. I've been around him since I was a kid. And just watching that greatness.
Stephen A. Smith doubled down on Crawford's determination in the lead-up to this fight. Unlike some fighters who might have asked Canelo to drop down in weight, Crawford insisted on meeting him at 168 pounds, Canelo's home turf. This wasn't about shortcuts or convenience. For Crawford, legacy only comes from facing the toughest tests head-on. Smith reminded everyone that Canelo is still a generational talent with a resume stacked with championships across multiple divisions, and yet, Crawford wanted exactly what Canelo had in that division. That relentless pursuit of greatness, Smith argued, is what separates Crawford from the rest. He didn't just enter enemy territory, he conquered it.
31-0, Molly, with 31 knockouts. He's taking on all comers. I asked him, you're moving up in weight. Why would you not try to get Canelo to come down from 168 to 160 to meet you halfway, since his last fight was Crawford's last fight was at 154? Crawford said, I want what he has. I want to go take it. I don't want to make, I don't want him making concessions and alterations. I'm coming to take what he has. And you look at him, and no one believes that he can't pull it off. He can box, he can punch, he's smart, he's elite, and he wants Canelo. He begged Canelo for this fight.
Analyst Aid Oladipo highlighted just how dramatically public perception flipped after the fight. Beforehand, critics dismissed Crawford as too small, too old, and too out of his depth against a powerhouse like Canelo at super middleweight. But once the dust settled, those same critics scrambled to heap praise on him, conveniently forgetting their doubts. Aid stressed that Crawford's achievement deserves every ounce of respect because it was accomplished the hard way. He wasn't gifted the opportunity, nor did he take an easy path. Moving up from smaller weight classes to challenge a dominant figure like Canelo was a massive risk. By not only surviving but decisively winning, Crawford shattered every narrative about size, age, and limitations. His victory was a testament to pure skill, unshakable belief, and unwavering determination.
Crawford did it again a few hours ago against Canelo. And what makes it even special or more special for Crawford is that he did it jumping up, as we know, a couple of weight classes. He did it against one of an all-time or another fellow all-time great, and he did it against someone who was undisputed and still a pound-for-pound top 10 guy. That's what Crawford did, people. So, all those things people were saying in the lead up to this fight, Canelo's going to be too strong, Canelo's too experienced, Crawford's going to be 38, all that. You have to remember all of that when you give Crawford his flowers. Like, don't like, oh, well, Canelo looks old. No. I don't want to hear any of that. I've started to see a few people on Twitter start to kind of sort of find excuses already. No. Remember everything you said, because Crawford deserves all of that. All of that. Crawford was incredible. Honestly, in the pocket, he was at times showing Canelo, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to bully you. Oh, you think you're going to get me in the clinch because you're Mr. 168? No, look at the size of me. I'm jacked as well. I'm swole. And he was moving Canelo around. So by doing that, he got his respect. He didn't switch to orthodox once, stayed in the southpaw stance because he realized early, oh, Canelo don't like this. Canelo does not like this southpaw stance. Canelo's tripping over himself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to switch it. I know I like this work. I'm going to stay here. On the ropes, it's like, okay, come in. Because when you come in, I've got that as well. And I can hurt you as well. Spinning off the ropes. His jab was fantastic. They put up the jab numbers. He was out jabbing Canelo like, it was almost like 10-1. Maybe even 20-1. It was fantastic. And when he needed to land those power shots, he was landing those power shots. It was an incredible performance.
The Wade concept delivered a crucial counterargument to those trying to downplay the loss as Canelo's decline. He pointed out a fact that many overlooked: Crawford is actually older than Canelo, so age cannot be used as an excuse. Add to that, Canelo entered the fight with advantages in size, power, and experience at the weight. Despite all of this, Crawford outclassed him. Wade emphasized that this wasn't about Alvarez slipping, it was about Crawford rising. By removing the excuses, he underscored that Crawford's victory wasn't accidental or circumstantial, it was a legitimate, historic accomplishment that proved Crawford had elevated himself to a higher tier entirely.
More tight, more fundamentally sound. While Canelo, even when he was able to get to range, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't often, he was having a hard time landing clean because everything was super wide and out here and to the body out there. And Crawford would either circle out to that same side, to Canelo's lead hand side. He would circle away because Canelo would step straight to Crawford and chase him and not necessarily cut him off. And even when he threw that hook, I was looking for the hook from Canelo right hand as he stepped through, right? Corral with the lead hand, bang the right hand because you're fighting a southpaw. So yeah, your jab may not be as effective in landing and managing distance and all those things, even though for Terence it kind of was. For Canelo, I was expecting a lot more of that right hand down the middle and over the top, and him jabbing his way, feint jab right hand, and then that lead hook that I thought he would be able to corral Crawford, because Crawford did want to move away from Canelo. He did. He wanted to move away from that power hand. Smart to do. Canelo never took that extra step to step outside of Crawford's lead foot. Again, that orthodox southpaw matchup. It's always going to be a battle of that lead foot. He never took that next step to get outside of that lead foot and then step through Crawford, step to his left where Crawford was going and land his right hand. He just felt like he was falling off to his right with his right hand, and once he fell off to his right after he threw the right hand, there was no follow-ups because he was off balance, and Crawford was out the gate and circling back to reset the action. This was a masterful display from Terence Crawford. And again, I looked at this fight, and I don't want to do the thing where I said, oh, Canelo's washed, he's over the top, he's old. Terence Crawford's older than Canelo. Is he as weathered as far as fights are concerned? No. But you can only do one thing when talking about this fight, and that is give credit to Terence Crawford. If you want to say Canelo looked old, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not going to say that.
Former champion Carl Froch broke down the technical brilliance that defined the fight. He noted how, after the 6th and 7th rounds, Crawford made a conscious decision to press forward and seize control. His jab became a razor-sharp weapon, disrupting Canelo's rhythm and forcing him onto the back foot. Froch praised Crawford's timing and fight IQ, recognizing how perfectly he knew when to shift gears. Rather than letting the fight drift into Canelo's comfort zone, Crawford imposed his own pace and strategy, showcasing the difference between good fighters and truly great ones.
Combination punches on the back foot, sort of dictating the pace. And then after about round 6 or 7, Canelo Alvarez knew, 1 second, I need a little freshener. Canelo knew he had to step on the gas. He knew he had to put the fight on its front foot and take it to Terence Crawford and start to try and catch him and bang him on. And when he headbutted Crawford, I thought that could be the start of it. A little bit of a nut, get that down. Yeah, I don't know if there was a cut, but the referee stopped and had a look, and I thought now Canelo's going to step on the gas. And he did that. He stepped on the gas, he started getting in close, and he started landing a few more shots than he was in the previous rounds, but it wasn't enough. Terence Crawford was able to catch and counter. He was landing a sneaky uppercut from the southpaw stance. He was dominating behind his jab, and then when Canelo stuck it on him, he was dominating up close in the pocket. He was beating him at his own game. Canelo Alvarez must have been fuming in there. He must have thought to himself, what can I do? He couldn't do anything. He needed to pick up the pace, put the pressure on, and sustain the attacks. And I don't want to take anything away from Terence Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for long enough. Crawford looked like he could have done 20 rounds in there tonight at that pace, the way he was dictating and controlling. And Canelo Alvarez was getting marked up, he was breathing heavy, he was getting tired, he was reaching with shots, and he was getting torn apart. It was an absolute masterclass by Terence Crawford. Canelo tried, Canelo came and he had a go, but to be honest, I don't want to rain on the parade of Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez, for me, is well past his best now. He's seen better days. He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the fitness to sustain the attack. Afterwards in the interview, he said, I felt great, it's great, I feel good. And don't forget, Crawford's a couple of years older. So I think it's the miles on the clock. Canelo Alvarez had like 67 fights. I know Crawford's had a fair few fights, but he's about 20 fights behind him. So the miles on the clock have caught up with Canelo Alvarez. He's feeling the pace, he's feeling the age.
Another analyst dove deeper, calling Crawford's win a masterclass in ring intelligence. He explained how Crawford seemed to be 2 steps ahead of Canelo at all times, anticipating punches before they even left Canelo's gloves. This wasn't reaction, it was preparation. Crawford had clearly studied Canelo's habits and entered the fight with counters ready. The result was Canelo's offense being neutralized and reduced to something predictable. Many fighters freeze under the weight of Canelo's pressure, but Crawford dismantled it with composure, transitioning seamlessly from defense into crisp offense. The analyst argued that this wasn't luck or an upset, it was years of planning, meticulous preparation, and tactical genius on display. Crawford proved he's not just one of the sport's most skilled fighters, he's one of its sharpest minds.
Constantly throwing the lead left hook to try and cut this off. And when he did get his foot to the outside, that was an option. But over time, Crawford, as he always does, as the genius boxer that he is and is able to do, starts to find those counter punches. And there was 2 counters in particular that I noted during the fight that I felt were absolutely key for Crawford. The first was the counter off that left hook to the body. Now, Canelo did land these sometimes. That left hook he throws, the lead left hook, is quite unpredictable. But he started to land it quite effectively to the body from time to time. But what Crawford was doing was he was catching it with his elbow, and then he'd throw the straight left hand back at Canelo as a counter shot. He'd throw multiple shots. And what I really loved about his counter work was he'd never throw more than singles or 2s or 3s. He never got carried away. He never did too much with Canelo. Don't get me wrong though, Canelo was still defensively very astute in this fight, but he simply didn't have the foot speed to get to Crawford. He couldn't do it. And he didn't want to use his own jab because I believe Crawford's lead hand is so effective that southpaw stance really meant he could dominate the fight with his own lead hand. Canelo's not a massive jabber himself, but now that he was fighting someone closer to his size, I thought he might try and implement a jab, but he didn't because Crawford's counters were just too fast and too good. There was a couple of moments in this fight, and I said in my prediction, I thought that you'd see Crawford in moments looking absolutely electric and just outclassing Canelo, looking too fast and lighting him up. And we saw that. I'll never forget the beginning of round 9, where he actually stood in the pocket with Canelo and he just rolled with the shots and he was throwing counters. It was absolutely brilliant. But the second counter that he used that was really effective was he'd allow Canelo to throw that single right hand, that straight right hand, that backhand for Canelo, make him miss and come back with his own straight left hand over the top. I also thought that Crawford stabbing to the body was very good. He'd throw straight shots to the body, and that was something I predicted from the Lara fight that he would be able to do. That was also where I got the idea with the exits that I felt would be useful. And the reason we knew they'd be useful and important was because of Saunders just not really dealing with them too well.
Veteran reporter Dan Raphael added perspective on how drastically the narrative shifted. Before the fight, many fans and analysts laughed at the idea of Crawford beating Canelo. But Crawford himself never once saw it as he refused to be intimidated, believing himself Canelo's equal despite the size differences. That confidence wasn't arrogance, it was conviction. Raphael explained that this self-belief is often the invisible separator between champions and legends. By trusting in his ability and blocking out the noise, Crawford shocked the world and rewrote what was considered possible in modern boxing.
Few rounds where he really started to back the supposed bigger guy up, although for me, they looked about the same size. But that was a brilliant performance, and what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that. But he showed his greatness.
He spoke about looking to back up Canelo in the fight, as you mentioned there, before it took place. How much of a surprise was it, though, just to see how comfortable he felt doing so?
I think it took him a little while to figure out that, you know what, he doesn't hit as hard as some people were saying, and that I can get in and out, and I'm going to be able to stalk him and walk him down a little bit. And he had Canelo extremely frustrated. And so I guess I was a little surprised he was able to do it, especially in those last couple of rounds. But he definitely was the guy that was going forward and back in. I mean, I've been watching Canelo for his entire career as a known fighter. This is my 24th Canelo Alvarez fight in person. I can't say that against anybody, including big punchers like Triple G and Kovalev and people like that saw him get forced back. That's not normal for a fight with Canelo Alvarez.
Dan, given your time covering Canelo Alvarez and those defeats that he's had in his career, but Bivol tonight amongst other kind of contentious decisions, how much is this one going to hurt? Because there's always been those question marks for the last few years. Is he on the decline? Now there's going to be more question marks. Is this the end of the road for Canelo, certainly at the elite level?
I mean, listen, and this is not a disrespect to Canelo, because everybody who has ever read me, followed me, listened to me knows I love Canelo. I think he's one of the greats of all time. I think you can make a really good argument.
Finally, Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bayomac McIntyre, closed the discussion with heartfelt words. He declared that he has always known Crawford was the greatest of all time, and this victory only confirmed it for the rest of the world, while acknowledging that Crawford deserves a well-earned break after this monumental achievement. Bayomac dismissed any talk of retirement. Instead, he made it clear that Crawford still has more to give. For now, the champion will rest, but the future remains open, whether it's new challengers, new divisions, or new milestones. Terence Crawford's story is far from finished.
Mac, you've been training Crawford for years. Do you think, okay, is he the greatest of all time? Because now people are putting him in the conversation of greatest of all time.
You know that.
You think so?
You know I know.
Okay, what's next for him? You've been training for years. What's next for him? The fans want to know. What's next for him?
Break. Take a break.
Is he retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
How are you celebrating? Listen, congratulations to you. Listen, congratulations to you. How are you celebrating?
Just go have dinner with my wife, man.
Okay, well, are you trainer of the year?
Well, I'll let the critics worry about that.
Last question. Is Terence Crawford retired or is he going to keep fighting?
Oh, he's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and like this video, and stay tuned for more like this.